Hello, this is Dr. Rick Chambers continuing our training of the Health, Happiness, and Harmony Partners. Today we're going to be talking about spiritual practice and the individual inner and outer journey. Spiritual practice, or the spiritual journey, is a natural part of the individual inner and outer journey. On the inner individual journey, health, happiness, and harmony act as motivators. On the outer journey, health, happiness, and harmony act as navigational beacons. In spiritual practice, health, happiness, and harmony act as motivations and as navigational beacons. How do 3HPs, or health, happiness, and harmony partners, integrate the diverse faith traditions and spiritual practices within local communities? 3HPs use a curriculum that we call the narrative of wholeness. The narrative of wholeness attempts to balance and hold in tension the values of inclusiveness and belonging with the need for identity and integrity. We don't think you can exclude spiritual practice and faith traditions from the journey toward wholeness. At the same time, spiritual practice cannot be required, nor should we require a specific spiritual practice, nor only recognize one faith tradition as the only legitimate path. Health, happiness, and harmony partners need to understand and work within specific local communities, actual geographical communities. The following expectations will vary from location to location, but we will use our local community as an example. We expect that 70 to 80% of individuals in our local area would want to frame their individual journey within the Christian tradition. But this means we expect from 10 to 30% of the local population will participate in a spiritual practice or faith tradition other than Christian. These numbers could be way off or reflect a bias based on our lack of experience. So we invite people to work with us to be able to say this in a more accurate way. We expect that worldwide 60 to 70% of people will frame their individual journey within a faith tradition. We expect that locally and worldwide that 10 to 30% will frame their individual journey and their spiritual practices along the emerging spiritual, not necessarily religious path. We expect that a certain percent will frame their individual journey outside any spiritual practice or faith tradition, but they will still be considered full members of the community, also on a legitimate journey. Much of the curriculum of the narrative of wholeness will come from various faith traditions. When this curriculum is actively taught, it will be taught by a 3HP that shares and participates in that particular tradition. Questions about particular traditions will be directed to 3HPs that practice that tradition. Many of our 3HPs will only work from the viewpoint of their faith tradition. Some of our 3HPs will be comfortable working from the spiritual but not necessarily religious path. These 3HPs will be comfortable working within, between, and outside specific faith traditions. Some 3HPs will only work outside faith traditions. Organizing in this way is what we call holistic pragmatics. Each 3HP should know the scope of their experience and teach only portions of the narrative of wholeness they are comfortable teaching and can teach with integrity. Each person on a journey should only venture on paths that they are comfortable with and that do not threaten their sense of integrity. It is only the geographical community that can offer and hold all the diversity of spiritual practices and paths and all the faith traditions. Recently, the word community has become a substitute for terms like-minded, the same, or in agreement. The heart of a biological community or ecosystem is the idea of diversity within a shared geographical space. How to value diversity in shared geographical space is essential to our passion for community. How to think of local community as an attempt to optimize individual integrity and belonging is the other side of our passion for community. We provide this model of holistic pragmatics as a practical way to facilitate the diversity of spiritual paths and practices and faith traditions.